Hello, my name is ArbieG and welcome to today's video where we are doing round 3 of the Nations Cup. After quite a disastrous week on GT Sport, all in all, due to the fact that we wrecked our SR, which you can see in a previous video. But we managed to climb the SR back up to S rank, and now we're going into the qualifying session, just watching the qualifying lap that we set here. So we're in GT2 cars, first time I've ever raced in GT2 cars. And we're looking at the qualifying lap here now as we go through turn 1, which I actually really do quite like this course. So this is a Red Bull ring, and yeah, like I said, I really do quite like this track. You can see at the minute, lap boys haven't done too well. I picked up penalties in lap 2, which kind of, you know, every time you pick up a penalty in qualifying, it impacts the current lap you're doing because it doesn't count. And then it impacts the next lap because you're serving the penalty. So 2 and 3 didn't count, and 4 was the first one I had a stab at. Actually, I think I got the penalty in both 2 and 3, and 4 I incurred the penalty, and then I managed to finish the lap. So you can see there with the half-second penalty, I can only do a 1:25.4. Whereas my best in practices was sort of a 1:23 flat was the best I could run. As we come down now to the last few turns in Red Bull ring, quite a nice lap offset here so far, so it should be on the better end for us, and let's see where that drops us in the grid as we come down now through the last 2 turns, which you can take these at relative high speed, which I've taken them pretty well again, and make sure you hit this apex here and you can get accelerating nice and early, which I didn't get accelerating as early as I'd like, but managed to get on half acceleration, and we finished there with a 1:23.4. so I'm about 3 or 4 tenths down from what I know I've been able to do in practice before. So let's see where that puts us in the grid as we go through the Nations Cup cinematic. I don't know why, but I think we'll probably put this on every video, just a little breather in between the race and the qualies. But yeah, pretty pleased I've managed to run that time. We've had some really bad qualifications past few weeks where I've been running sort of over a second and a half or so after what I know I can do, so it's nice to get it within a decent range on your quali. So it's actually the 3rd time I run this race today. The first 2 rides did not go well. I found it really hard to control the GT2 cars in the sense of keeping the consistent and just not spinning off over a 17 lap race. You know, I can do a few laps and that, so I decided on this race, because it was my 3rd one, I decided to turn on the TCS onto 1, so that's your traction control, just to give me less chance of spinning out. Still got a chance of spinning out, but much less chance when you got your TCS on. So I thought, you know what, it's better to try and stay on the track and at least finish in a moderately respectful place than finish last like I had done in my first race, and I finished like 18th or so in the second race I tried. So there we are there, we've qualified in 6 with our 1:23.4. So that's not a bad, you know, we're in the top half of the race. When I ran this earlier, as I said, I'd done this race 2 times already. I'd actually qualified in 3rd and 2nd place, so I'd actually been higher up in the grid with slightly better times, but this seemed to be like a faster set of races. You know, I think the pole position was a 1:21, so I was well off that pace. So we're doing a rolling start today as we come through Red Bull Ring. As usual, we're not doing the entire 17 laps. You'll probably see sort of a decent amount of laps, but definitely not all 17. Probably overall, probably about 7 or 8 as we sort of skip through the main highlights of the race. As we get away now to our rolling start, heading into turn 1, and let's see if we can avoid some carnage in the first part. As that position got away really, really slowly, and we might be able to steal a position straight away. Is he? No, he's managed to hold his position, but we're going to sit in the slipstream. And actually, we're not going to sit in the slipstream. We're going to go straight on the inside because we think we've got the pace on him anyway. And looks like we're trying for an overtake on turn 2, which is bold, I have to say. But yeah, nice, easy overtake there. A little bit of contact from number 6 behind us, but nothing. That's really concerning us. But no, really well through turn 2 to climb a position. Now we're up in 5th. Coming through now to turn 3, and we're looking on the inside again, and no, that's, oh no, look, I didn't think we were going to get that, but he took a really wide line and just left the door open for me to walk in there. It looked like I was easing off there, and then yeah, went for it. So look at that. Within that, we've climbed 2 places. Good start to the race. And again, I'm not someone who's overly aggressive or tries to overtake early. I try to sort of settle into the race, then start pushing once as I get a hit from the back there, knocked me off my nile a little bit, would have lost a little bit of pace, and it looks like he's going to be able to take advantage of that, and he's definitely got the pace as he sort of just barges his way through there, so I ease off and let him have the position. Yeah, it's frustrating, you know, how I managed to get that penalty the other day, which, you know, we did make contact, but quite honestly someone made contact to me to make contact to somebody else, and whereas that guy's, you know, intentionally barging past and gets no kind of penalty whatsoever. But it's because it's sort of, we're all going similar speeds and I'm not spinning off the track. If whatever he did resulted in me spinning off the track, then he probably would get a penalty. As now we come down and we're in 5th place, so we've climbed a place up from where we started as we come through now into turn 2. And see if we can make some gains on 4 and 3. And oh no, it looks like we've lost grip there, span out, and we've already had our first crash in lap 2. And this is literally the last lap of the day, so let's have a look and see what happened there. So we come on the brakes, hit the braking zone a little bit early to make sure we didn't make contact. It looks like we might have made a little bit of contact there. We come up half acceleration, push to full acceleration, but our steering wasn't quite straight as we come to full acceleration, and that kind of explains, even with the TCS on, we span out there. So now we've dropped all the way down to 8th, and it looks like we're having to battle for 8th place, as we've got a fellow Brit just behind us, pushing quite hard, so we'll have to go on the defense until we can build a bit of a gap. But yeah, that's a really really bad time to spin out. So take a really bad line through there, and he comes barging through. Not much I could have done, and it looks like someone else is looking on the inside here as well. And we're gonna hold our position there and go on through in 9th place. So like I said, not a great start, but we're gonna skip forward a little bit in the race. I managed to climb a place and go up to 8th, but not really too much has changed from the start of the race. So I really now just trying to focus on get back to where we started. I've put the time deltas over the replay there, so we can keep an eye on the distances between in front and behind. And now I'm making a push after a few laps on the Brit in front of me, who's been in front of me a few laps. Looks like I'm going on the inside on this turn here, and let's see if I've got the angle. Looks like I've got the inside, and he makes a little bit of contact on my rear there, but not enough to put us off, and we're away. And it looks like we've managed to pip the place, and let's see if we can hold it through the next few corners and make sure that we can now to start thinking about maybe trying to push away from this little pack we're in here and push up on 6th. So again, so we can at least stay equal to where we started the race. That would still be a satisfying result to get 6th, and again, especially this is the last race of the day, my last chance here. So whatever happens in this race happens in this race, as there were no more races in the day. This was the last one at 20 past 10 at night. So I'm driving the Nissan, which actually, of all the GT2 cars I drove, it was actually the one that felt the most, felt the sort of best handling and best able to keep it under control. But you know, I still struggled to keep it in a clean race, and given that we slipped off on lap 2, maybe I should have turned the TCS up even higher than what I've currently set up. So we'll skip forward now. We've gone to lap 7. Again, the status quo's not really changed. We were in 7th place. Built a bit of a gap between us and the pack behind, but now we're trying to push up on 6th. 6th spun out there, and we don't really know where to go without making contact. How are we going to get a penalty there? A little bit should have went on the left. Hard to misread his slipping and sliding. I was hoping it would turn into a ghost, but didn't seem to happen. And now we get our position taken. But this guy's got a half-second penalty. He's squeezed us right into the corner there. But we're not too concerned because he's literally just about to get his half-second penalty now. It looks like he's trying to block us off, but it doesn't matter because he'll turn into a ghost as we goes through and claim back 6th. So we've now managed to get back into 6th place, the place where we started. So now it's just a case of perhaps we can hold this and see the race out now and see if we can just maybe build a bit of a gap and yeah, just secure a satisfying race. As now we coming through the end of the last few corners on lap 8. And yeah, it's been an all right race so far. Like I said, a bit disappointed about the spin out on the second lap. But quite honestly, the way that the races beforehand went, it isn't too bad actually. Like the first race I did, I was, you know, qualified in second place, moved up. Qualified in third place, moved up to second place, and sat there till about lap 5 or 6, and then sort of spun out on one of the corners. And it was a really bad spin. Some spin outs can be really bad, where you're trying to correct yourself and you try and sort of get yourself back on track, and in doing that, you spin yourself again. And you know, the next thing you know, you're in 20th place with a 30-second gap, and not really much you can do. So took a real big hit on the driver rating. And then we sort of did another race a bit later on. As we have a little slip there, but we managed to keep hold of it that time and correct it. Probably give the person behind us a bit of a chance to catch up, as they're only like, you know, 0.2 of a second behind, and they look like they might be going on attack here. But look, we've taken a defensive line on the inside. Get is a bit slower through the corner, but it ensures that you know, it makes it really hard to overtake, and we hold our position. So doing some defensive driving there, as that is a easy area to overtake somebody. So we're going to see. We do know this guy's been following us for quite some time in the race, and you know, since we were back in 8th, I think. And we do know he's got a fair amount of pace as he's really pushing on us now. We get a bad line through there. Again, we've gone on the inside here on the defensive line, but as it's 2 turns in close succession, it looks like, yeah, he's gone up the inside here, and he's just looks like he's just come across and knocked me there, and I've come off. Again, I couldn't really, it looked like that might have been on purpose to come over and just sort of nudge me in a really awkward place. But again, knowing the penalty system as they do, it's such a small knock that it doesn't even see it as being able to put me off. But that, I feel, was maybe a little bit dirty. Or maybe he just wasn't aware of me. As oh dear, we've span off there, ran off into the red area, and this race is going awful, and this spin is a bit worse as we have to try and correct ourselves and get back on. And let's see if we can keep something quite semblance. So we're in 10th position, but let's have a look back and see what happened there. It's on turn 1. We got the braking zone spot on there, did a bit of trail braking as we go through, accelerated to half acceleration, and I think because we tried to fully accelerate on the red area where we wouldn't have had the grip, wheels just spin out and we crashed. So, you know, it was maybe going into the corner a little bit too fast. Not, you know, we tried to trail brake, but maybe we should have started that trail braking a little bit later, as we've run wide there and have given 11th and 12th a really good chance to push up on us. This race is really not going well. But as I said, last race of the day, you just got to try and do what you can and finish as high as you can. But to start from 6th and move up to 4th, and did I get pushed there? It looks like I come off there. I'm sorry, I might have to do another replay on that one, because it seems really weird for me to miss the braking zone. Lap 10 has not been a friend. So this is the replay from the person behind. As we'll slow it down a little bit. You can see he's full brake there. He's really close to me going into there, and comes off the brake and he just smashes me into the back of me, and I'm off the track. But the penalty system actually worked that time. You see, he sort of himself a 4-second penalty, but that really did me some damage, as I now will drop down even further to 13th. So as I said, this race has really not been very kind to us. We haven't pitted yet, so this is in lap 10, so our tyres are pretty worn, so perhaps it's now the time to pit. We've got about a 6-second gap on the people behind us, so they're going to probably get past us after this pit, but I'm kind of hoping that they haven't yet gone into pit and we can at least hold on to 13th, which I know sounds like it will be our worst result of the season, but at the same time, like, this race has been a little bit, you know, I've had a couple of spin outs which completely my own fault, but a couple of knocks as well, a couple of hits that just sort of, just, you know, just the way it goes, unfortunately, sometimes with online racing, you know, if it's virtual racing, people don't have the same risks as they feel like they do in a real car, so more than happy to smash into somebody. But yeah, when that last hit off there, if you're gonna, there's times where I've, you know, race really close up the back of somebody, but you normally do that through a straight to build up speed, to be able to get in a good place to be able to overtake. What he was doing, he was right up behind me going through the braking zone, which really, like anyone knows, you shouldn't really be doing, because if that your braking zones, not everyone's driving the same car, and braking zones are slightly different in different cars, so I have to brake quite heavily through that corner in order to get the end of my car around, to then put the throttle down, to get the throttle down as early as possible. There's an old a concept, well, not an old concept, but quite a well-known concept, that to get the fastest times, you go slow into corners and fast out of them, as opposed to the other way around. And that's what I was doing on that turn, and that guy, come off the brakes so much earlier than what I do, meaning that he would be accelerating as he's at the exit of the corner, not on the apex, whereas I'm aiming to get down to a slow enough speed so I can accelerate on the apex and I get more speed going through the preceding straight. That's the general idea. So yeah, he obviously didn't want to do that, so he, for some reason, was that close to me going up to the brake point, which, that's just, if you do that to somebody, you will hit into them. There's a very good chance that you're going to hit into them. If you're that close to somebody, you come up to braking line, you need to move to a different part on the road, and you need to either be on the inside or the outside of them. And if they take the corner badly, no matter which side you're on, if you've taken it well, then you should be able to get the overtake. But it looks like we're going for an overtake here as we look in position 14. Just get on the inside there and sneak through. So yeah, that's what I mean there. Like I was following behind that car, as close as the other guy was who hit into me, but I wasn't behind him at the point where we start going into the braking zone. I move into the inside, so if I get a better braking, my car ends up in front of his, as opposed to going into the back of him. It's not that hard to understand, but we're now going to try and build this gap on the Brit behind us, who took us a little bit over time to overtake, but we've got a race on here, trying to race in 14th, and we've still got people who might be having pit stops as well. So we might be able to claim up a couple of positions, but I really can't see us even be able to break into the top 10 the way this race is going, as we have only got 5 more laps left to go through. As we come through the last 2 corners now of lap 12. So I am very pleased that this is, from what I can see, the only GT2 race in either of the FIA seasons, because of the Manufacturers Cup. The Manufacturers Series is just switching between GT4 and GT3 cars. I'm racing the same 2 cars throughout the entire thing, whereas this one, the Nations Cup, is sort of switches a lot between them. So we skip forward to lap 15. So we've gone forward a little bit more. We're in position 13 here, so it looks like we've climbed one place as now we've gone through. Now heading towards turn 2 of the track. But we haven't really got anyone around us. We've got a 3-second gap either side of us, so really inoffensive position to be in with 3 laps left. Unless you're a second faster a lap, which possibly at this position of the race I might be, but realistically I'm not, and be able to close down that gap. As actually it looks like the Brit behind us is actually starting to catch up, as their gap comes down to 2.7 seconds, 2.6. As we're about spun out again on this corner here. Not again one that we can recover from a little bit quicker, but we've had to drop 2 positions there, and possibly might even have to drop a third, as now we've got another Brit position 16 barreling behind us. So this has really been an awful race. Now we're in position 15 and we're spun out. I think with unforced error wise, I can sit there and whinge and moan about being knocked off the track all I want, which has happened twice, and obviously we've lost positions due to that. But the way it is I've come off the track of my own poor driving 3 times, and that's what's really hurt this race. As we run wide there, and probably going to incur track penalties. Really strict there to make sure you don't overrun. Yeah, you can see I've got a half-second penalty, so we're going to drop even further in this race. As you can see, the chap behind has got a 1.5-second gap, and we've got a half-second penalty. So as I've said in previous videos, when it comes to penalties, it can be a bit not as clear cut as having half a second, because not only do you lose the half a second time from when you actually incur the penalty, but you also lose all of the speed you've got on the preceding straight. So it's hard to say how much time you actually lose when you actually do get a penalty. So we're coming up to the penalty line now, and let's see, we've got about a second gap now, so he's even closed it down even further, and now we've had to reduce our speed, and let's have a look. You can see him now 0.8, 0.7, 0.6, 0.5. And are we going to get to the corner first? That's the most important thing, and then we're matching speeds. And it looks like he almost made contact there, but we've just protected the position. That's a run wide, but I've managed to hold it all together there and get back on the racing line to avoid him overtaking. Is very lucky to not get overtaken there, as we take a decent line through there, keeping it tight on the inside to not give him the chance to overtake unless he wants to go on the outside, which he has to increase his speed, which will make him fly off. And we come through the S-bends now, flat out, and it looks like we've rebuilt that little lead we had about a second as we come through the last 2 corners, and let's at least see if we can hold 15 to see this race out in 15th place. As we come out and we run wide there a little bit, could have spun out, but we kept it together. And it looks like actually he's crashed. He's no longer chasing us. He looks like, yeah, you can see him back there crash, and we finished there. What is altogether a really poor race. I can even see on the timings on the right, very, very poor. So you can see there's a lot of 1-minute penalties given out to people. I assume it's because they broke the tyre rules and never put any on any hard tyres at any point for the race, where it was mandatory you had to put on hard tyres at some point. So I ran the last sort of 5 or 6 laps on hard tyres, but so that pushes us up actually to 11th, which isn't too bad. Not really earned it, but is what it is. 14 points, so not a great round for us, especially we've had a huge hit on the DR, and that's not going to help as well. We need to start getting in some good races where we actually finish in good places. So that's what the season looks like at the moment. We're 9th place in the Derbyshire area. So it's the first 2 rounds at the moment that count towards a total score. So we've got a total score of 64. So hopefully that can be a bit of a dip round. That's not going to count towards the overall scores. But you can see the table there on the bottom left. We're actually the highest ranked in the C class. So we're doing well for the class we're in. There's only so much you can do when, B and A classes literally earn more points per race, and you can't actually do it. Even if I won every race in the FIA and C class, I still wouldn't be anywhere near their scores. So the fact we're still the highest of the C class is actually something that we can still be pleased about. But you can see on the right graphic that the driver points has had a massive hit. You can actually see the few days preceding where I had the hit on the SR, dropped all the way down to 52 and built it back up to 99 just before the FIA. But in doing that, I had to sort of sacrifice the DR. Basically, all I did was join races, and anytime anyone tried to attack me, I just I let them go past me, and didn't really care about where I placed. I just wanted to get the SR up to try and race a clean race, and quite honestly, we didn't actually get a clean race out of it. I still got knocked off the track a few times anyway, but at least I think in the S class, a safety rank, people try, which is the main thing. But anyway, that is today's video. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that other stuff, and I will talk to you all really soon. Alright, cheers, bye.